Hi everyone, my name is Vasudha. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing Yuval Noah Harari's book 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. But first, let's find out who Yuval Noah Harari is. Is he some close relative of Steve Jobs? I mean, they both bear an uncanny resemblance, don't they? Anyway, let's just find out about Yuval Noah Harari. Yuval Noah Harari is an Israeli. He was born in 1976. He's a historian by profession and he teaches at the Department of History in the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Now let's take a look at the books that he has written. The first book that he wrote was Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, written in Hebrew in 2011 and then translated into English in 2014. His second book, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, was also written in Hebrew first in 2015 and then translated into English in 2016. His third and the latest book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, was written in English and published in 2018. This book has also been translated into many other languages. Apparently, there was a controversy regarding its Russian translation. You might want to check it out. Before we dive into the chapter-wise review, I would like to mention here that I have not read the first two books. But from what I have gathered, the first book, Sapiens, is about the evolution of humankind or the history or past of human race. The second book, Homo Deus, is about the future of mankind. And this book, 21 Lessons, is about the present day challenges that the humankind faces. I'm not sure if this is a trilogy. In fact, I have heard that this book contains a lot of content from the other two books. So make a choice which one you would like to read first if you haven't read any of the three. And if you have, then do share your reviews in the comment section below. Now let's take a look at what this book contains. The book has 21 chapters corresponding to the title of the book, 21 Lessons. It is divided into 5 parts, each focusing on a broader theme, namely the technological challenge, the political challenge, despair and hope, truth and resilience. Under the first theme, the technological challenge, are 4 chapters, namely disillusionment, work, liberty, and equality. The overall argument of the author in this section is that biotechnology and infotechnology pose the biggest challenge humankind has ever faced. The first chapter is titled Disillusionment. The end of history has been postponed. The author starts off by stating that humans like to believe in stories, and liberalism is the most popular story of the 21st century. In the post-Cold War era, it has been successful in selling the pills of liberty, peace, and prosperity, and this story became the global mantra in 1990s and 2000s. But disillusionment with this story in the minds of humans began in 2008 with the emergence of the global financial crisis. This disillusionment reached its peak in 2016 when it struck the core liberal regions of the world, namely the USA with the rise of Donald Trump and the European Union with Brexit. He argues that the liberal political system was designed during the industrial era and it finds difficult to deal with the ongoing revolutions in biotechnology and infotechnology. Since the 1990s, the internet has changed the world more than any other factor. Yet, the internet revolution was created by engineers more than political parties. The democratic system is hardly equipped, according to the author, to deal with future technological shifts like the rise of artificial intelligence and blockchain revolution. He argues that computers have overtaken our lives and very soon we will not be able to make sense of many of the existing services and programs. What will that do to the political process and institutions? He asks us to imagine a government that waits for an algorithm to approve its budget or new tax reform. Alongside, blockchain networks and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin might make radical tax reforms inevitable. The author warns that the twin revolutions in infotech and biotech could not only restructure our economies and societies, but also our very bodies and minds. These two revolutions would give us control of the world inside us and would enable us to even manufacture life. Humans will learn how to design brains, extend lives, and kill thoughts as we like. All this was mind boggling for me. What is disturbing then for the author is that these technological disruptions are not even a main item on the political agenda. Our political leaders warn the voters against the threat of losing jobs to migrants, but they never warn us against losing our jobs to algorithms. In the current times, the common person feels increasingly irrelevant. The author argues that perhaps in the 21st century, populist revolts will be staged not against an economic elite that exploits the masses, but against an economic elite that does not need them anymore. The last part of the chapter traces the evolution of the liberal system from the mid 19th century and outlines the breakdown of liberalism in the present times. He urges the humans to abandon the very idea of a single global story. Chapter 2 is titled Work. When you grow up, you might not have a job. Here, the author points out at the uncertainties of the coming decades. He states that humans have no idea how the job market will look like in 2050. He argues that robotics and machine learning will change every line of work from producing yogurt to teaching yoga. Even though there have been fears of massive unemployment due to automation since the 19th century, the author argues that this time it is different and that machine learning is going to be a real game changer. This is because AI is getting faster and smarter, and it is joined by breakthroughs in life sciences and social sciences as well. AI can now outperform humans even in tasks that supposedly require intuition, such as driving a vehicle or lending money or negotiating a business deal. The only area where AI would be a no match to the humans is perhaps in competing with their souls. The author has given many examples from various fields about the huge potential AI has, especially the twin revolutions of bio and infotechnologies combined in taking over our jobs and lives by no further than 2050. In the long run, no job will be absolutely safe from automation, including those of the artists who deal with the expression of human emotions. I am not too sure about that. One just needs to look at YouTube to see the immense creative potential humans have, which perhaps no AI would be able to match. While he argues that we don't need humans to sell music, considering its digitalization in sales through iTunes and other such apps, and algorithms can track our mood and play appropriate playlists, I think the creation of music and all forms of art would remain a human activity. But the author likes to believe otherwise. He reminds us that humans cannot challenge the algorithm's understanding of the human biochemical system, and therefore, whatever we create can easily be replaced by AI. This implies less jobs for future generations of humans. But the scenario is not all grey. The author suddenly shows a positive side to the debate. He says that AI might help in creating some new kinds of jobs, if not new jobs. The kinds like servicing and leveraging AI, something that we are already witnessing with the replacement of human pilots with drones. He even goes on to say that the job market of 2050 might be characterized by human AI cooperation rather than competition. He then changes tack again and shows the negative side of such kind of new jobs, which is that these will require high levels of expertise and would therefore not solve the problems of the unemployed, unskilled laborers. Basically, the author has argued that humans will face irrelevance. Then, how will the human race survive? The answer lies in universal basic income. But universal and basic are deeply contested terms. No doubt AI poses an increasingly big threat to human employment, and the author is correct in highlighting it. We will witness major changes to traditional jobs. Many professions, let alone professionals, may not even be required. However, the author does not consider countries which are densely populated, whose majority of population lives below the poverty line, like India, which will not be ready to give so much leverage to AI. And this will be a political decision, not determined by a robot, but human politicians. Chapter 3: Liberty. Big Data is Watching You. The author argues that liberalism has encouraged humans to pursue liberty in every aspect of their lives, be it in the economic field or personal, and has upheld free choice of individuals. Here again, the author argues that this authority, rested in the humans, will soon shift to the algorithms. He argues that free choice, free will, and even feelings are nothing but calculations by millions of neurons in our brain. And these calculations are continuously being computed by algorithms even as we speak, because we are surrounded by gadgets that are smarter than we think, no pun intended. Remember the twin revolutions, biotech and infotech? When they merge, they produce big data algorithms which can monitor and understand our feelings much better than even we can. We are already witnessing signs of the penetration of these two technologies in our lives, whether it is monitoring our heart rate or the pizza toppings we like when we place our order online, or the movie recommendations on Netflix or Amazon based on our previous searches, or even the matrimonial matches we shortlist on various apps. All this does sound creepy and scary. The author even goes on to say that in some countries and in some situations, humans may not even be given a choice, but will be forced to obey the decisions of big data algorithms. He elaborates on this in the section called Digital Dictatorships. By example, when he explains that humans rely on Google to search for information and that their ability to explore and to some extent their curiosity too diminishes, I would also then believe that humans are surrendering to AI themselves. This chapter was quite interesting. Even though humans may struggle to find their relevance in the future, this chapter was surely relevant to humans in understanding their future. I cannot explain much details as we have other chapters to cover, but do give this a good read, especially the example of the philosophical car, which brings out the dilemma of the reliance on AI in precise terms. On similar lines, he has juxtaposed AI and natural stupidity as a separate section. The chapter is full of details and examples and is very well researched and finely argued. Now let's take a look at the last chapter of this part. Chapter 4, titled Equality: Those Who Own the Data Own the Future. This one is a fairly short chapter. The author gives a brief historical account of the origins of inequality from Stone Age till present times. He argues that globalization has certainly benefited large segments of humanity, but there has also been growing inequality both between and within societies. He warns that this could get worse because, with the rise of AI, the economic value and political power of most humans might be eliminated. The humankind could quite likely be divided into two classes: one, a small class of superhumans, and the other, a massive underclass of useless Homo sapiens. Welfare countries will have a different approach in dealing with this so called useless class as compared to the capitalist countries. The author even speculates a world scenario where deglobalization could be a strong possibility. While there are many scholars who have argued for deglobalization before, there is perhaps only one who has done so on the basis of the consequences of unthinkable technological revolutions. There is no doubt that in the 21st century, ownership of data will determine ownership of power. Data giants like Google, Facebook, Baidu, and Tencent have already begun their big data race. The author has discussed a few ways to regulate the ownership of data, including state regulation and personal regulation. He argues that nationalizing data may curb the power of big corporations, but it may also lead to digital dictatorships. Personal regulation, too, is inherently impossible owing to the lack of expertise and experience humans have for this task. One quote that I found interesting in this chapter is: politicians are a bit like musicians, and the instrument they play on is the human emotional and biochemical system. Unfortunately, the algorithms will rule over our emotional and biochemical systems in the Hararian scheme of things. The author ends this chapter more with questions than with answers, which has left me disappointed. So that's the end of the first part of the book and its review. I will be sharing the review of the other parts in the following weeks. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also share your comments, your views, your own reviews, and your suggestions, if any, in the comment section below. Thank you and bye.